Hello, StarCraft fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. This is a game between MaNa and SortOf on Frost, the latter edition. Another professional Legacy of the Void game from spawningtool.com. I'm going to say lotv.spawningtool.com is actually a better place to go, but regardless, here we are on Frost, and let's introduce these two players. In the bottom left side of Frost, we have the red Protoss player. It is MaNa from Team Liquid. And in the top right side of the map, we have the blue Zerg player. It is SortOf from Revolution Gaming. Alright, so a PvZ. Been a while since we've seen one of these, I feel like. A lot of ZVTs recently on the channel. Mono battles, Into the Voids, and mid-rank madnesses for sure, but not many ZVPs among any of those. So I guess the mono battle does include both Zerg and Protoss, but regardless, this is only Zerg and only Protoss for fans of that matchup, and I know there are some of you out there. Hatch first from SortOf at the traditional location. MaNa, on the other hand, is throwing down his gateway on the low ground. He's going to have one gateway expand with the single assimilator. Cybercore going to come up next of all, and then the second assimilator on the way. Probe scouting. I do love the probe scouts from players like MaNa, like Petit Drogo, like Puck. Seems like Protoss is a little more incentivized to scout than Terran and Zerg are right now. I'm not sure it's because they feel they're a little underpowered, and having that edge of knowing what their opponent is doing is going to be the difference between winning and losing, where Zerg and Terran don't feel that way. But I still feel like if you don't scout, you just can get your face wrecked regardless of what the matchup is. So there's the expansion for MaNa. There's the cybernetics core and the second assimilator. There it is. Perfect. Perfect. About 20 supply there for MaNa, and about a minute and 40 seconds to go. Spawning pool about to complete from SortOf. He has a couple options here. He can 2-base it against his 2-basing Protoss opponent, or go for a third hatch somewhere in the next minute or so. He's not in a super hurry to do that. He's going to get some lings out, see exactly what to expect from his opponent, and then probably try to go for the third probe, checking for that quick third. Doesn't see one, but good scout nonetheless. Maybe expect some aggression from SortOf, but it's only 4 lings and speed and a couple queens right now. This is about as standard as an opening as you can get from Zerg. SortOf doesn't want to commit to anything at this point, and honestly, who can blame him? I cannot. I cannot, because he hasn't scouted. He has no idea what MaNa is doing, so he's sending lings out to try to clear out the potential third base location. There is a probe here, but oh, dodges back and tries to see. Oh no, got spotted. Got spotted. Run. Great juke, and the hatch does go down. Tries to block it, if just for a second, but the probe knows that he is dead. Sloverlord moving from the top left to the bottom left, and Sloverlord moving from the top right to the bottom right. But, you know, that's where your opponent is not right now. Has he actually scouted this yet? He has not. Okay, so now he knows. Now he knows the Protoss players in the bottom left. The very last place that he ever was going to scout. Bit of a misfortune for him, but I think he'll be just fine. Ling's knocking down the unbuildable rocks, just to avoid misclicks later on in the game. Third hatch about 50% complete right now. Hatches build pretty fast. They are cheap as well. That means they die faster. It's kind of, that's how the trade-off works. Warp gate research on the way for SortOf, and we have a robotics facility coming in for MaNa as well. So robo facility opening, likely going to be for an observer. Could be for immortals. Does have actually a Twilight Council and a Dark Shrine coming up as well. So not just stuck on a robo facility. That's for sure. Hasn't done anything with the Twilight Council yet. Likely for Resonating Glaives and Adepts. Pretty good in the early game against this Zergy player. Also good against Hydralisks. If SortOf is going to go for those buffed up Hydras, seems like that could be a potential thing as well. So good wall off here at the front door. Got this gateway. Got the Cybernetics Core and the Adept and the Stalker. Should be hard for these lings to break through, and they're not even going to try. Are they? They thought about it, and then they said, you know what? No, we're not even going to try. Warp Prism here, Dark Shrine here. So likely going to be the Warp Prism, Dark Shrine into Archon drops here from MaNa. We've seen these quite a bit on the channel recently. Somebody did actually inform me that DTs are cheaper to make into Archons, at least as far as gas is concerned, but a little bit more expensive on minerals. So those are kind of your trades off. You can get them out earlier with the Dark Shrine, but at the same time, there's going to be more gas, or a little bit less gas than if you just went with High Templar. I think those are the details. I need to look those over again. But anyway, that explains why we see Dark Shrines instead of Templar Archives with these Archon drops, because it's faster and because it is a little bit less gas intensive here. Checking for third base, trying to get a third base up is MaNa, but the lings making sure that doesn't happen. Probe gets picked off. Mothership Core cannot prevent the death of that probe. There we go. The Archons coming in and Resonating Glaives too. So MaNa making use of that Twilight Council. At the same time, Ling's not exactly running away from the Warp Prism. Or not the Warp Prism, the Mothership Core, but regardless, just trying to make sure that third base cannot come up from MaNa at all. So here comes the drop. There are a lot of Lings. There's a Spore Crawler here as well. Going to fly right over that Spore. And there are Queens. Oh, crud. Going to lose that Warp Prism immediately. Sort of. That was brutal. Queen ends up dead there. What did the Queen get? Or the Archon get? Archon got something? Something there, I suppose. Lings again, making sure third base does not come up. This dude have a kill? No. Third base, just not really in the cards for MaNa right now. Tons of Lings here from SortOf. He has 31 on the field. Lost a few Lings to that Archon, but the number of Queens here and the Spore Crawler that SortOf had absolutely shutting that thing down. Shutting it down. Adepts here on the high ground from MaNa. It's 96 to 62 total supply. I mean, I don't even know what SortOf can be threatened by right now. I guess there could be some Adept Warping stuff for MaNa. Who's moving out with that Warp Prism? Overseer scouts right on in, sees exactly what is going on. Sees the Resonating Glaives coming in here at the Twilight Council. We'll have to assume that's what it is. Probably not Blink anyway. Ling's going all the way back home. Third base. Complete Baneling Nest here for SortOf just now popping in. We have the Grooved Spines upgrade, increasing the range of the Hydralisks by 2. This is before the very latest patch where it got moved to 6 max instead of 7. But regardless, Hydras should be pretty good in this situation. Ling's checking for a third base. They still don't see one. It's kind of freaking them out. Like, MaNa, it's 6.5 minutes into a Legacy of the Void game. You have to have expanded, but he just can't with these Lings out here. He can't do it and put any pressure at all on SortOf. And here come the Adepts, but there are Banelings just right now. Adepts, they didn't want to transfer there. For sure not. For sure not. So Hydras, again, take extra damage versus Adepts. Resonating Glaives is done. Adepts, here we're trying to do this thing. Great splits, actually. Keeping a lot of these Adepts alive, transferring them into the natural base, just getting away from the Hydralisks entirely. Trying to kill that Queen. They get the Queen. They're going after drones here as well. Baneling's getting some hits off, but this is a lot of dead drones. 10, 11 dead drones. And there's the transfer back over here into the third base. A ton of Queens in this location. Adepts trying to do what they can, but getting surrounded by Queens and Lings and Banelings. Still a ton of dead drones. Adept count getting smaller and smaller, but the psionic transfer ability of MaNa is absolutely elite at this point. There's a single Hydra, dies immediately to the Adepts here in the main base. Queen might die as well, trying to keep that Hydra count down. And then again, another warp. Good Baneling hits, though. And Queen Hydra, pretty good, but this is a lot of dead Hydras so far. 7 dead Hydralisks. Adepts finally get cleaned up, but that was a lot of damage done. 18 drones lost, 7 Hydralisks, and 60 dead Lings at this point in time. Unfortunately for MaNa, it's 107 to 59 total supply. Still was not able to take a third base behind all of that. I think he's putting all of his eggs into that one basket. And you know how that works? Not super well most of the time. Because if you drop the basket, all your eggs are gone. Warp Prism, man, their range is so good. So good. What did they kill there? That was really weird. Is that a changeling they killed? I don't know. Very odd indeed. Alright, so Zealot Changeling does see that the Warp Prism is moving back on in. Trying to land here at the third base. Warp Prism getting some shots off. Ton of Hydras. And MaNa says, no, that is not what we want to see at all. Ling's finally finding the third base of MaNa. And getting murdered by Archons. Archon Adept Sentry here trying to protect that third base as best they can. But it's basically just going to be Hydra, Baneling from SortOf. Trying to sneak on down here and get some shots off on that third base. Trying to shut it down before anything bad happens. Woo! Excuse me there. I don't know what is going on today. Throat was doing fine up until now. Storm on the way for MaNa. Fourth base coming up for SortOf as well. And this is a very Hydra Baneling strategy, which I wasn't a fan of previous to the Hydras getting their buffs, but now seems a little bit better in most situations. Taking the southern Xel'Naga Watchtower is SortOf picking off an Adept that tries to retreat from that location. And speed for the Banelings on the way from SortOf. It's just, I don't know, main link speed here against the Zealots and against these Adepts. Storms need to be really good, but Storm's not even done yet. If SortOf can move in here before Storm finishes, I really like what he's able to do, but if he can't, this could just be a huge problem. Changeling taken down by the Archon, recognizing, hey, that's not my Zealot. That's not my Zealot full show. So we're looking at a 33 Hydra count, 19 Lings, 21 Banelings with speed. Sneaking up this ramp up into the natural base from the bottom side. Getting scouted though, MaNa, good map awareness, and here it is from two fronts, Hydras and Banelings. MaNa does not know where to attack or where to defend. First of all here, Guardian Shield is up on this southern area. Good force fields catching a few Hydras out of position, but these Hydras at the top are just virtually unopposed. A single Immortal there. Storm finally finishing for MaNa, and actually he wins the battle on the right side just a little bit, but no, more Hydras coming on in, storming on those Banelings, but it's not enough to actually kill them, and Banelings are exploding on top of the sentries. That is it. MaNa with the GG. MaNa is defeated, and SortOf is victorious, taking the win for Zerg today in this ZVP on Frost. Fantastic job from SortOf, defending pretty much everything that MaNa threw at him, which is not easy to do, right? It's not easy to defend against Archon drops. We've seen a lot of players lose a lot of stuff to that, but SortOf was ready. He was already born ready for that, expanding at appropriate times, shutting down expansions of MaNa, not allowing him to take his third until way late into the game, and then just showing up with Hydras and Banelings and Lings attacking from multiple fronts, and just won the game. So fantastic job by SortOf. MaNa gets the loss, but again, better luck to him next time. All right, so that's it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit the subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, and Patreon, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.